to that.
Mr. Speaker.
Simon O'Connor.
Look, I'm very pleased to rise with this bill. The former member was talking about small elements, and I think what's important is she's mentioned a few small details, but of course missed the wider context. So people have been talking about Australia and holidays and so on. Well, in Australia, just to look at a few facts, they have 8 public holidays a year and 20 days off by right. In New Zealand, of course, we have 11 days off, not 8, we have 11. This bill passes through, we move to 12 or 13, along with 20 days off. The US only has 9 public holidays and no mandated leave. And Canada, just across the border, of course, for those geographically challenged, has 9 public holidays and only 10 mandated days of leave. So New Zealand already has 11. We have more public holidays than all these other countries, more public holidays, a small detail for the Greens, than Australia. We pass this bill then, we move to have even more public holidays. Now, that can be right or wrong, but as context, that does make New Zealand less competitive in a global environment. It's really important that we provide the full context. So to the member who just resumed her seat, curmudgeonly can be an excellent word, I have to say, and personally I feel that Mondayisation is a crime against the English language. I feel terrible to even use it. But we need to obviously touch all the details, so it's very important. The other side of it too, and I didn't really want to get onto the economic front as well, because those who have heard previous speeches of mine have played more on the principle. But the thing is, there are always costs to decisions that are made. And so we've heard here in the House today, and it was from Grant Robertson in his initial speech, that we want it. Well, it was a speech, I'll give it that, but he said we should be giving and encouraging more holidays. And we hear also from Labour and the Greens and other parties that there's more we have to pay people more money, there has to be more opportunities. And whether that's right or wrong is one question, but the other is always to admit there is a cost. Where there are more holidays, where there is more pay, someone has to pay that price. Kiwis have to pay that price. And yes, I acknowledge the interjection from Andrew Little. There are benefits too, but there are also costs which need to be acknowledged. Mr. Speaker, I do not support this bill. The reason remains very simple, as I said from my first speech, that Anzac Day and Waitangi Day, they are not excuses for holidays. I think it's important for everyone to understand, it has been iterated in the House a few times, that of course Anzac Day and Waitangi Day are holidays. It's not as if they are not going to be, or will be more so. They are holidays, be it on a Tuesday, a Thursday, a Saturday or a Sunday, and that remains. We will be able to attend our services and so on. But this has become a bill which wants to use those days of commemoration to be an excuse for a day off. And when we listen to the opposition, it doesn't take long at all that tourism and barbecues and other commercial enterprise usages kick up. And I said, and I invited, and this is an important point, I invited in my second reading speech the opposition to say to me, look, if we want to have a discussion about more holidays, then let's have that discussion. Let's have that discussion. I said, let's not use Anzac Day and Waitangi Day as an excuse. But if we want to talk about more holidays, come and have a chat with me. Well, Mr. Speaker, here we are, and one of the oppositions yelled out they're already holidays. Yes, that's right, they are already holidays. And this bill is saying let's use those existing holidays, these days of commemoration, as an excuse for more holidays. I reject that. I say, come up with better ideas. Come up with better ideas. But to date, Mr. Speaker, not one person in the opposition, has come to talk about an opportunity to create new holidays. No, they are more than happy to use these days of commemoration in this way, and it will harm them. It does make changes to mindsets. Principles are important. Consistency is important. And that's lost on the opposition too when they're saying these are just the same. These days are just the same as Christmas Day or Easter. They're not. They're not. Things like Christmas and Easter and so on are days of festivities. Even one just needs to look at the etymology of where the words come from. They are days of celebration. But these days, Waitangi Day and particularly Anzac Day, are days of commemoration. We have the ability already, in law, in statute, by convention, to undertake these days of commemoration. Again, we are using this. This bill uses this as an excuse to create more. And opposition yell up and down that it might be only every so often, but that's not the point. If you're a person of principle, then you stick to principles and you stick to consistency. And that is the key operating here. Mr. Speaker, in a few days' time, many of us will, of course, right across the House, be undertaking our Anzac Day obligations, duties, with a heartfelt desire, and I'm sure that goes right across the House. I'm very much looking forward to joining the people of Tamaki down in St Heliers. We have a little war memorial there on the bay to a young man, I think Guy Brookfield. He used to be a Scout troop leader who died in the First World War. And a number of us right across Tamaki from all the different communities will come together on the 25th to remember this day. And I think it's important to acknowledge that the day does remain. It remains a day of commemoration. And to be honest, I don't expect any of those people in my electorate standing there at the memorial to say, oh, Simon, I wish we had an excuse for another day off. It's not going to happen. So, Mr. Speaker, we do not need this piece of legislation. What we need, as I've offered and suggested before, is a free and frank conversation. If we want more holidays, then let's have that discussion. Do not use Anzac Day. Do not use Waitangi Day. And returning finally, just remember, of course, what we began with. And my colleague David Bennett, a fine chair that he is, has noted New Zealand already has an incredibly good deal on holidays when it comes in comparison to other countries in the world. We are a great country. We already have our systems well in place. And, Mr. Speaker, I do not support the passage of this bill. I ask the members of the opposition to stand with a lot of Kiwis who have written to me and others, I'm sure, to say, look, leave Anzac Day as it is. Leave Waitangi Day as it is. Let's remain days of commemoration. Mr. Speaker, I am proud and happy to not support this bill and in doing so support our veterans.
Sue Moroney.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And